Why the Ucc filing? Expansion of federal jurisdiction after the Civil War. Following the Civil War, the United States sought to expand its jurisdiction beyond the 10-mile federal district and lands designated for military and administrative purposes. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this expansion occurred via changes in banking and taxation legislation. These changes, heavily influenced by foreign financial interests, did not explicitly apply to state citizens, but distinctions were often left unclear, placing the burden of interpretation on the people. Public awareness, previously fostered through civic education, diminished as legislative and judicial overreach grew. 2. Redefining citizenship and federal incorporation. The ratification of the 14th Amendment in 1868 introduced a new class of federal citizenship, citizens of the United States separate from state citizenship. This shift created a dual sovereignty, with those who accepted federal citizenship subject to expanded legislative control. The 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th Amendments collectively established a framework that facilitated federal regulation over individuals who volunteered into the new system, typically through applications for federal benefits. 3. The legal tools of federal expansion, 1913 to 1933. Key legislation between 1913 and 1933 enabled structural changes. The Federal Reserve Act created centralized banking, the 16th Amendment authorized income taxation, and the 17th Amendment diminished state power in the Senate. The Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917 allowed the federal government to exercise wartime powers during peacetime under declared emergencies. Simultaneously, the registration of persons and property through birth certificates, vehicle titles, and land deeds laid the groundwork for constructive trusts, where the public unwittingly became surety for federal debt. 4. Constructive trusts and presumptive ownership. Constructive trusts were created without disclosure, converting citizens into economic sureties for national obligations. These trusts, created through registration acts and adhesion contracts, placed legal title in the hands of the United States or its subdivisions. The equitable title, the true ownership, remained with the people, although they were unaware. Profits derived from these registrations were held in trust, with the presumption that failure to claim the remedy constituted acquiescence. 5. House Joint Resolution 192 and the discharge of debt. In 1933, the federal government enacted House Joint Resolution 192 to eliminate the requirement to pay debts in gold, simultaneously providing a remedy to discharge public obligations using fiat instruments. HJR 192 effectively served as legal indemnity for government officers and a remedy for the public. It prohibited contractual clauses requiring gold payment and validated discharge through any lawful medium of exchange. This created the legal basis for accepting debt instruments in satisfaction of obligations. 6. The role of the UCC and commercial remedy. The Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, introduced in the 1950s, codified commercial procedure nationwide. It facilitated the treatment of fictions, corporate persons and registered entities, as real for legal purposes. This enabled debt discharge using commercial instruments rather than actual money. Ucc filings, including financing statements and security agreements, became the mechanism through which individuals could assert secured interest in the artificial person, e.g., the all-caps name, and regain control over their legal and economic standing. 7. Registering claims and asserting creditor status. The filing of a UCC-1 financing statement, supported by a security agreement, registers the living person as the secured party over the artificial legal entity. This claim must be filed with the Secretary of State. Additionally, notification must be sent to the Secretary of the Treasury to establish Treasury direct accounts for lawful offsets. Once secured, the creditor can issue negotiable instruments to discharge public charges, provided they comply with routing and non-cash handling procedures under Federal Reserve policy. 8. Legal presumptions and evidentiary objections. In administrative or admiralty courts, jurisdiction is often presumed through silence or admission. A powerful objection exists. This line of questioning assumes facts not in evidence. This objection challenges the presumption that the artificial person and the living individual are one and the same. Without a rebuttal to this presumption, courts proceed on the basis of adhesion. Therefore, asserting standing and jurisdictional facts via commercial filings becomes essential. 9. Equitable ownership and fiduciary duty. The U.S. holds legal title to registered property, but the equitable interest remains with the people. If the government invests titles and profits from them without placing those profits in trust for the rightful owner, it constitutes fraud. However, if the remedy exists and the people fail to claim it, courts will not uphold claims of treason or fraud. Understanding one's status and utilizing the UCC process converts one from debtor to creditor within the commercial matrix. 10. Remedy execution and final procedures. To complete the remedy process, individuals must register their secured party interest via Ucc filings, notify the Secretary of the Treasury, reserve non-cash routing numbers, reference HJR 192 as their basis, use only non-cash instruments for public debt discharge, execute bankers' acceptances where required, maintain commercial compliance under Title 12 and 46 U.S. See these steps establish lawful, traceable discharge mechanisms through the Federal Reserve for resolving presumptive obligations. 11. The quid pro quo in the national debt system. The United States and its subdivisions are debtors to the American people, who remain the equitable owners of the nation's substance. Non-cash instruments properly routed through Federal Reserve systems reduce the national debt owed to the individual. This reciprocal discharge, where both public and private debts are simultaneously settled, reflects the legal foundation of the remedy. The process converts the presumed debtor into a lawfully recognized creditor, restoring balance under commercial law.